The crew of a West Island trawler marooned at sea struggle for their lives against a growing parasite in their water supply when the IMDb description. Thought I. Does this mean Alien knockoff? Deep Rising knockoff? Or Slither knockoff? Oh, and it's a low-budget film from the country that bought us an alien invasion where the aliens can only be seen if you're 3 sheets to the wind?
This looks like a job for
someone with way too much time on their hands to review. So, it's not an Alien knockoff, Deep Rising knockoff, or Slither knockoff. Sort of. If anything, I'd say it was more akin to a Pandemic type of film where our poor crew are picked off not by a rubber monster or CGI creation, but instead by things that we can't even see, let alone fight. And I'll be honest, as a Pandemic film, this sort of works, but I don't think this film wants to be a Pandemic film. I'm not sure that it wants to be a creature feature either. In a way, it does play closer to an Alien film where the crew encounter the enemy, retreat, plot their next move, then head off to try and kill the enemy, but there's something missing here, because all the ingredients are here for an involving film. You've got sort of interesting characters being played by actors doing the best they can with what they've got, an interesting, beautiful, menacing creature which you could remove completely and replace with a virus brought about by eating some dodgy fish for supper. The boat is claustrophobic, full of dark corners and looming shadows. The sense of isolation is great, as is the natural explanations for neither being able to call or radio for help. A horror director friend of mine once called mobile phones the death of the horror movie, but there's just something missing, because this film just isn't scary. IMDb says it belongs in the horror genre. It's got the plot keyword of aquatic horror, but I wasn't scared in any way, shape or form, which is one of the issues when your film is basically a Pandemic film as opposed to a horror film. Without an actual monster for your cast to defeat, it's just a bunch of isolated people on a boat trying not to catch a contaminant which is spread via contact with water, which, word for word, is the exact plot outline of an episode of David Tennant's Doctor Who.
Don't drink the water. Don't even touch it. Not one drop.
Which is a shame, because once you put the fact that this horror film is less scary than My Nephew at Halloween aside and start looking at it as a character drama about a group of ordinary people coming to terms with the fact that they have sadly discovered a new virus and what to do with that knowledge, or even if they should quarantine themselves when their only instinct is to go home, yeah, sadly this film has acquired an undertone due to influences outside the film's control, which I would say is a shame, apart from the fact that this fleeting brush with relevance is the best thing that could have happened to this oddly frustrating film. Look, at 90 odd minutes I knew that this wasn't going to be The Abyss, but I was expecting more from this film. It's a sort of monster film that didn't need a monster, a character study that didn't develop its characters enough, a Pandemic film that feels overburdened with carrying multiple genres on its back that it didn't need to carry. All of which is a shame, because I did enjoy certain aspects of this film. I like spending time with this film's characters. I like the fact that they acted like people and not stereotypes within reason. I'm pretty sure I could sum them all up in about 3 words. I like the sense of isolation, growing desperation, which is the core of any good horror film. As the survivors dwindle and paranoia begins to creep in, it's a film that very clearly made every single penny of its miniature budget work as hard as it could. It's just a shame that a film with such premise ends up being just sort of there. It needed to go one way or the other, because sitting in the middle of the road just means you're going to get hit by both lanes of traffic. Either be a character study about people accidentally discovering a deadly new pathogen and trying to work out what the right thing to do is, or be a film about people discovering a new form of life that picks the crew off one at a time, but you can't mix the two, as they require 2 totally different reactions from your audience, which is a shame. TLDR, Sea Fever is all the gear but no idea. Or, to put it another way, if nothing else is on and you want to see an interesting but frustrating horror film, check this out. Otherwise, just don't bother. But what did you guys think, and what is your favourite boat-featuring aquatic horror film? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, it's been a Dunking. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.